The Lana record was like painful to make, but that was because his production style and her vision for the record were.
Well, it's a little more pop and a little more polished.
I mean, but it was different visions and like two people who were used to kind of getting their way with how you make the sausage. So that's like the best example I could think of Dan being forced to slow down because he was working with an artist who was unwilling to acquiesce and give in at all and was just willing to like dig her feet in. But his natural inclination is to like move really fast and just like, I mean, you think about like, I mean, that's actually one of the reasons that we've always been, we always enjoyed each other's like company, like even outside of music, is like his like deep love and obsession with really 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 fucked up recordings and really like just fucked up records in general, like things that like
The weird shit.
like the weird shit, whether or not it's like weird blues records or soul records or like British invasion records or like African records or whatever. It's like he like he doesn't like things that have the rough edges shaved off, and I don't like that. I don't most of the time I don't like that either.
Yeah.
You know.
I would say my impulse is kind of the same. And like, there's two versions of Nashville. There's this super polished Music Row Nashville, and then I feel like everything away from that, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, like, I would just say, sort of to counter that, you know, it's like 10 years ago, the musicians that Dan was using to make records were more. They were people who had existed out of the Nashville mainstream and were guys like me or Leon getting flown from New York, or guys that he knew from Ohio or the West Coast or whatever, or Germany or whatever the case may be. He has brought in a lot of these like absolutely top flight Nashville dudes like Mike Rojas, who's a piano player, and like Tom Bukovac and like Russ Paul and like Kenny Vaughn and all these guys who are just like absolute, like
they're all great players,
like murderers row of guys who can execute all the stuff that we're talking about, all these kind of like just blazing things, and he's managed to work them into his ever-changing ensembles of studio musicians, and they'll like dial it on take one or take two, but somehow like the wildness still remains. So it's like he's taking a little bit of like the commercial Nashville thing and maybe like a little bit of that polish, but still like making sure that it's kind of refracted through this kind of like still kind of like fucked up wild prism.